There's going to be 17 Ohio State football players going through a job interview for the NFL on Wednesday. I'm Stephen Means, and that's Andrew Gillis. Ohio State holding its pro day on Wednesday. 17 guys. That's 15 of the guys who went to the combine, plus G. Scott and Josh Fryer, who are also being included in that. Andrew, of that 17, who's the most actually, no, I'm not going to limit it to just 17. Who's the most intriguing person participating in Ohio State's pro day on Wednesday?
Is it a cop-out to say it's the quarterback?
No.
I think it might be Will Howard because, we talked about this the other day. Every position group is represented here. So everybody in the NFL is going to be here, right?
Except Andrew Barry.
Except there's going to be a lot of scouts, but more specifically, there's going to be a lot of position coaches, and there's going to be everybody represented. And one of the things that we talked about a little bit after the combine was that Will Howard didn't have the best throwing performance. And you start to wonder, okay, how much of that was just he didn't have Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith? How much did we talk, Stephen, in the fall of him underthrowing deep balls and not really being on the same page because he didn't really realize what he had, or at least he didn't play with what he had until later in the year. And I think it was kind of the inverse at the combine where you start to think, okay, maybe, the receivers are all going to the NFL, but they're not Jeremiah Smith. Yeah, the receivers are all going to the NFL, but they're not Emeka Egbuka or Carnell Tate. Those might be 3 eventual first-round picks, and that's not the case with all those guys. So you start to wonder, okay, is the timing off? I think this is a really big day for Will Howard in terms of throwing because obviously everybody knows the physical traits. Obviously, everybody is well aware of, how big he is and that he can move a little bit. But he didn't throw well at the combine, and I think he really needs to have a nice day throwing the ball because if you throw the ball well here, you can make up for that and you can say, you know what, in rhythm at his place, once you get him with receivers, he can start to impress some coaches and say, hey, look, I know I played well on the field, but for some reason we have to take the combine seriously, and we have to say the combine matters more than anything else. If you just kind of erase that and throw well at your pro day, I think we're going to be talking about Will Howard as a really interesting prospect. So I think he has probably the most to gain out of anybody here.
Yeah, shame on Will Howard for not having chemistry with guys who were just standing in line he'd probably never met before in his life. How dare he have better chemistry with guys he spent a year building chemistry with? I think that's a good answer here. My answer is some are people who are not draft eligible this year. Ohio State's gotten into this habit. It started during the 2021 NFL draft when Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave and Jamison Williams were the wide receivers who were catching the balls from Justin Fields. The next year when Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson are going through it, C.J. Stroud's their quarterback, and essentially it's continued to go. Marvin Harrison Jr. did his a year early. Jack Sawyer and J.T. Tuimoloau were helping out with Mike Hall while he was going through position drills last year. It's a cool way to, hey, here's the experience. So when you go through it yourself, it's not a new thing. But also, it's a chance for the NFL to get its eyes on some guys that they're going to care about a year from now. Ryan Day did say that Carnell Tate and Brandon Dennis are participating in the pro day. They'll be 2 of the receivers alongside Emeka Egbuka, who is going through a pro day, who I think if I had to pick a guy, I'd pick him because he didn't do anything at Combine. And he is running the 40 at the pro day and doing everything else. And I think he can Jackson Smith the jig with this thing. But I am wondering, because Ohio State's gotten in this habit, how many guys are going to be looking at Carnell Tate and going, that's intriguing, right? Because, again, we've all said it. His stats are what they were because he was playing with 2 first-round draft picks. Well, the NFL knows that, too, so they're going to get a first look at him. The NFL is going to get a better look at Brandon Dennis as a star wide receiver than we have so far because he's been stuck behind 3 first-round wide receivers until now. And then the other 2 are Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs. And the reason I said Jack Sawyer and J.T. Tuimoloau is they went through the drills, so Mike Hall wasn't just standing around when he wasn't going through a drill. Lathan Ransom's the only safety. Now, granted, you've got 2 cornerbacks with Denzel Burke and Jordan Hancock, and a lot of their drills are the same way. But I am wondering whether or not Caleb Downs and Jeremiah Smith do join their respective groups and go through the pro day as well. Because if so, yes, Will Howard's going to be the talk of the day. Yes, Emeka Egbuka. Yes, Jack Sawyer, J.T. Tuimoloau, Tyleik Williams, Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins. The list goes on and on. Josh Simmons being healthy, who I do think is another guy who can gain a lot because he wasn't fully healthy yet at the Combine. He said he was going to be healthy by the pro day. But I don't know, man. If you've got some guys in here who aren't draft eligible for another year, or in Jeremiah Smith's case, another 2 years, how much are they the talk of the town? Now, those are big ifs. But there's just some things I want to keep an eye on, as well as keeping an eye on the guys who are actually going to the draft. Get the text 614-350-3315. 2-week free trial, $3.99 after that. Ohio State's Pro Day on Wednesday. We'll be in here. Stephon, too. He's just a little under the weather, but he'll be back for that as well. And go listen to Buckeye Talk wherever you find podcasts. See ya.